clear emotions or traumas, beliefs from the past, whatnot, tapping on these different energy points on the body and clearing out that disruption. And my understanding is that because basically the flow, having your energy system flow, is a more fundamental, it's something more fundamental and true about you than the disruption. And so once you realign your system back to that, it tends to stay. So 3 years from now, you don't have to remember that again and clear it again. So that's why it can be so useful. And you can, and also there can be a generalization effect with EFT, whereas I clear a trauma, and it's similar to 3 other traumas that happen, and I actually clear that trauma, and then all of them are cleared because they're kind of related in your system. So that makes it even more effective, because if we had to go back to every single negative thing that happened to you between 0 and 20, you'd be trapping for 20 years. But we don't have to do that. Mm-hmm. So there's a generalization. So that's kind of the basic what EFT and what it kind of does. And Psych-K it stands for psychological kinesiology. And most people, a lot of people, and probably a lot of the people who listen to your show have heard of muscle testing or applied kinesiology. And basically, your body knows what's true and what's not true. So if you hold out your arm and you say your name and somebody pushes down on your arm will be strong. And if you say something else, okay, so my name is Joe, and somebody pushes down on your arm, it will be weak. Because anytime you say something that isn't true, it weakens your system. It disconnects the flow in your system. And so you can use that technique. Sometimes, most people know it from people hold like supplements or food and focus on that, and like this whatever it is, this apple is good for me, and they muscle test your arm to see if it is or not, because the body knows whether it is or not. And then with Psych-K,
it's like a direct line of communication between you and your subconscious mind and the universal mind, kind of in theory, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your deeper self knows a lot more than you think it knows. Is kind of a message there. But you can use that testing method to find out what unconscious beliefs you have. And so through intention and through the fact that EFT is kind of Psych-K is a standardized process, you can go through and go through a process where you use the muscle testing to ask what beliefs are in the unconscious. So usually you start with a kind of a problem or a goal with Psych-K, and you ask either what's creating this problem, more or less. You're asking with the muscle testing, what's creating this problem in the unconscious, and you can get a message about, oh, it's the belief that I'm not good enough. It's the belief that I hate myself, or it's the belief that I'm not capable of that.
Or you're asking an open-ended question so that you actually are provided with, like, not just a yes and no kind of thing, but it's an open-ended question.
There's a whole protocol, and the one reason why Psych-K isn't out there as much is because to learn all of it, you really have to go to the workshop. It's not like EFT where I can show you in 10 minutes. Not that it's not simple, but basically there's a protocol that you go through. Like, let's say we started out with a problem. Let's give an example. We start out with a problem. So like I had this client who was starting her own business as a travel agent, and she was doing everything but working on her business. She's mowing the lawn. She's totally avoiding it. So we muscle test. So what I went through was this protocol to learn a lesson or message to release a symptom or problem. So we ask her, so while I'm muscle testing her, and asking her superconscious mind through intention, we can agree that this person has resistance to working on her business, and then I get a strong, arm is a strong. So we've established what the problem is, and that me and her subconscious agree what the issue is. And then I ask, this represents or communicates a life lesson for this person. Yes, it's safe and appropriate to learn this lesson or message and release the symptom of avoiding working on her business now. Yes. So see, all you get is a yes and no answer, so that's why I have to ask all these questions so that we know where we're at.
Right.
And then I would ask if the lesson or message, so basically you have a symptom because you need to learn something, right? That's kind of the message of what we're saying here. And once you learn that in your unconscious, then you don't need to present that symptom anymore, whether it's a physical symptom or an emotional symptom. And then I ask if the lesson or message that she needs to learn is on one of, they have 5 or 6 sheets that have all these different standardized belief statements on them. And Psych K, this process was all sort of, he doesn't use the word channel, he uses the word intuitively downloaded. So he doesn't totally know why all of this. Rob Williams, who's the originator. So a lot of the statements, so there's like 200 statements or something that they give you in the workshop. And so you're testing, is the statement on the red sheet, is the statement on the blue sheet, is the statement, and even if the person doesn't know what's on those sheets, their superconscious talks to your superconscious, asks what's on the sheets. This is according to Psych K, asks what's on the sheets, and knows which belief statement it is that needs to be shifted in that person and put into their unconscious in order to change the output of what they're doing. So in order to remove the symptom of avoiding working on her business, she, what we found out was the first belief statement that she needed to have was, I am responsible for myself. And so we went through that protocol and asked all the questions. Okay, we agree that she has this issue. It's okay for her to learn it now. Yes. What is the issue? Okay, this is, and then so now we know what the statement is. And then we go through a process called a balance, and there's actually several different balances. Psych K is more complex than EFT is. So there's several different balances, and a balance is basically asking the questions using the muscle testing and then doing a simple technique. Most of the techniques, what they do is connect the 2 sides of the brain so that you're in a full brain state, and then you're more sort of in a state that you're more receptive to programming in your unconscious mind. And so all the processes in some way put you in that full brain state, and then you program that new belief into your unconscious, and then you test, this is complete and this is done and everything. And then afterwards you retest. So the person says the new belief, and you test, and then their arm tests strong. So now they have that belief in their unconscious. You can actually test before and after, so you actually know that you've done that. So that's sort of an overview of what Psych K is. There's, like I said, there's several different, what they call them, balances, and they're just different ways of writing a new belief in your unconscious. That's basically what that is. So,
now,
yeah.
An EFT, of course, is definitely much quicker. I'm assuming with Psych K, too, you've got to be in the same room with people to do that work.
I can do it over the phone if I talk to them ahead of time, know what their issue is, and then I put myself into surrogation for them. So
you'd be testing yourself.
Right. I test myself on their behalf and use my body to put myself into a full brain state with the intention that the healing is happening for them. And you can even do this